Hi, and welcome to my channel on personal growth. If you're new to the channel, my name is Kate. I'm an integrative relational psychotherapist, a life coach, a yoga instructor, and an author. If you would like to schedule an individual online session with me, you can find all of the relevant information on my webpage. Now, today I'm going to be discussing a topic that was actually brought forward by one of my clients. Now, this client of mine wanted me to be very specific and to give clear instructions as to how to go about this whole thing. So what am I talking about? How can you start loving yourself? Well, let me be quite honest from the very outset. It's extremely difficult to give precise instructions about such a vague concept as how to love yourself or how to feel and believe that you're good enough. Why? Because first of all, like I said, these concepts by themselves are very vague. It's quite difficult to define them. For example, what I believe is good enough might not be good enough for you. Second of all, we are all individuals with our own history, with our own set of beliefs, and of course, we have been brought up in quite different circumstances. Now, somebody who was brought up in a warm, loving, and supporting environment will have a much better self-image than somebody who was brought up in a negative environment where there was a lot of violence of all sorts, where the environment as such was not supportive, meaning that your parents, for example, were constantly pointing out all of your negative qualities or characteristics. So, like I said, it's difficult to be precise, it's difficult to give instructions, and I most certainly don't have a blueprint for you to follow, a blueprint that will lead you to a desired result. Because we're all different, we all have different experiences, we have different patterns of cognition, of expressing and experiencing emotion, and of behavior. But I will nonetheless try to give you some food for thought, because all of these issues do very frequently come up in therapy. But it's much easier to discuss this precise question when I'm working one-on-one, when I have a specific individual in front of me with his or her specific problems, issues, background, experience, and so on and so forth. But what I have noticed in therapy, and I've been doing therapy for quite some time now, is that a lot of people have a very negative self-image. And I believe that that kind of an image is in fact more or less an introject, meaning that people actually take as their own a belief of somebody else. Now, if you were brought up in a warm and loving and a very supportive environment, and if your parents encouraged you to do things, and if they praised you and complimented you on your positive qualities, then it is much more likely for you to have a positive self-image than somebody who was brought up in an environment that was not supportive, where there was a lot of violence of all kinds, where your parents, for example, never praised you, congratulated you, said they were proud of you, but they rather focused on all the bad things you did or all the negative qualities that you had. So a good starting point would be, for example, to take a look at your cognitive patterns. What does that mean? Try to analyze your thought patterns. If I asked you to describe yourself, what would be the first thing that came to mind? Would you say that you're a wonderful person, a reliable person, a good friend, a warm-hearted one, a loving, a supporting person, a smart person? Are you good looking? Or would you be listing all kinds of negative qualities? So once you understand how you perceive yourself and which negative qualities you attribute to yourself, it will be much easier for you to take the first step on the path towards self-love. Self-love is not an easy thing to do. Why? Because we are frequently bombarded with negative comments from other people, be it because they're jealous, be it because they don't like us, or they hate us outright, or they just don't want us to succeed. And as human beings, we sort of tend to believe all these negative comments and opinions about ourselves, especially if our own self-image is quite unstable and negative. So the next time you start describing yourself to somebody, start focusing on your positive qualities, no matter how small they are. Even if your positive quality is that you make a great cup of coffee, or that you're a good listener, or I don't know, that you're really good at cleaning your apartment. Start focusing on what is positive in your life, on what is positive about you. And when you start thinking negative thoughts about yourself, take a moment and pause and reflect whether what you are saying and thinking is really your own, or is that somebody else's comment that was put into your head? Is what you're thinking, in fact, something that your parents told you you are when you were growing up, or your friends accused you of? Then try to analyze these negative thoughts and try to figure out whether there is any truth in them. It might be that you are, in certain circumstances, a bad person, let's say, because you're not fully supportive of your team or something like that. But that doesn't mean that you're a bad person overall. Or you might not be very successful in performing specific tasks, but that doesn't mean that you're stupid or that you are completely incapable. Or, for example, if you failed at something once, it doesn't mean that you will never ever master that skill. It's just you've experienced one failure and that's it. It does not define you. And the next time that you're looking at yourself in the mirror, try to focus on what's good about you. And even if you see something that you perceive as negative, try turning it into a positive quality. So focus on what is positive. And the more you focus on what is positive, the more you start believing it, the more you take it as your own, the more you start experiencing at an emotional level as well. Because there is no good convincing people that you're a wonderful person if you yourself don't believe it. And it often happens that we have so many negative introjects from other people that it's really difficult for us to figure out just who exactly we are, what our qualities are. Maybe you can just sit down and write on a piece of paper all of your positive qualities and all of your negative qualities, and then analyze which ones are true in as objective manner as possible. And try to figure out whether all of these negative qualities were in a way forced upon you. Were there people in your life who were constantly telling you that you are X, Y, Z, that you're stupid, that you're ugly, that you're, I don't know, completely incapable, that you're a bad friend, that you don't do anything right ever, that you're an unreliable person? And then make your own assessment of it. Is any of it true? Is it true to a certain extent? What can you do to change that if it is something that is bothering you? But what is most important is for you to grasp and understand and feel on the inside that we all have positive and negative qualities, and that is okay. And even if you have more negative qualities than positive qualities, it still does not make you a bad person as a whole. The more you accept your negative characteristics, the more you accept your shadow side, the more you're working on diminishing the expression of negative characteristics, and the more you focus on expressing what is positive, the more you will start to like yourself. Because it all comes down to this, essentially. Do you like yourself or don't you like yourself? Are you trying to change who you are because somebody else believes that you should be different? Or are you trying to change something about yourself because you think it's the right thing to do, because you believe it will make you a better person? Stop trying to please other people, because in this world, there will always be people who like you and people who don't like you. And no matter how you try to change to be more to somebody else's liking, the more you will fall prey to manipulation. So just accept yourself the way you are. If there's something you don't like, change it. If it's impossible to change, just accept it and be okay with that. Because we're all unique. We're all composed of a million different thoughts and emotions and elements and what have you. It's what makes us human. And as soon as you start liking yourself, as soon as you try to stop hiding what you think is wrong with you, you will start feeling better in your own skin. You will start liking yourself more, even loving yourself. Stand in front of a mirror and stare at yourself and smile for a couple of minutes. You don't have to burst into a hilarious laughter, just, smile. And after 3 minutes, start telling yourself that you're beautiful, that you're worthy, that you're smart, that you're competent, that you can do it, and that you're good enough. And leave it at that. Don't try to overanalyze everything. Accept yourself for who you are and be okay with it, because you are good enough. And if you need any help in trying to resolve these issues, you can of course always schedule an individual session, and I will try to help you. I will try to help you figure out what is it that is really troubling you. What is it that is really bothering you? What is it that could help you become a better version of yourself, whatever that may be. I hope I have given you at least some food for thought. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email me or put the comments under this video in the comment section. And if you like this video, just click like and share, and of course subscribe to my channel to help me grow it. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.